Here is a common essay prompt. Do modern media make travel unnecessary for cultural learning? The author takes a nuanced position. Media has value, but physical travel provides irreplaceable experiences. They execute this using a 4-part concession-refutation framework. By intentionally giving space to the opposing view before dismantling it, the writer builds an argument that feels objective, tested, and difficult to dispute. The opening paragraph starts by establishing the playing field. The writer points to the high level of access to cultural knowledge that we have today. Notice what this does. It establishes the general context of the topic without lazily repeating the prompt's exact vocabulary. Then we hit the hinge of the introduction. The phrase, "Personally, while I acknowledge," this specific phrasing acts as a clutch. It shifts the essay's gears from a broad, objective observation about society directly into the writer's subjective argument. That shift leads right into the formal thesis statement. The writer lays out a clear 2-part claim. Media provides insights, but travel offers unique, irreplaceable experiences. This funnel structure, moving from a wide hook through a precise transition and down to a sharp thesis, gives the reader a perfect map of the logic to follow. Now we look at the first body paragraph. Tactically, this section validates the opposing viewpoint to prove the writer is analyzing the whole picture. The opening word, admittedly, acts as a flag. It immediately signals that a concession is being made. The writer outlines the core premise of the other side, that modern media lets people study foreign societies right from their living rooms. But look closely at the phrasing. By stating this view is predicated on the assumption, the author maintains strict academic distance. They are examining the idea, not endorsing it. To flesh out this opposing view, the paragraph offers solid examples, pointing out that a student can study Japanese tea ceremonies or Italian Renaissance art entirely online. It even stacks on secondary points, acknowledging that digital learning is highly affordable and convenient for those short on time. Then comes the critical turn at the very end of the paragraph, the word however. Here, the author caps the concession by introducing a strict limitation. They state that secondhand media fails to capture the emotional depth and true authenticity of a culture. Conceding these valid points makes the author look reasonable and thoroughly informed, and that final pivot seamlessly sets up the reader for the essay's main counterattack. That attack comes in the second body paragraph, beginning with the transition, on the other hand. The topic sentence fires back immediately, asserting that physical travel provides first-hand cultural exposure that screens simply cannot duplicate. This split screen highlights how the language is engineered to create friction. The writer deliberately sets first-hand exposure against the second-hand sources mentioned earlier. They follow up with another contrast, pitting the active word immerse against the passive comfort of their own homes. The paragraph backs this up with direct sensory evidence. It points to tasting traditional food, engaging with native speakers, and observing daily local customs. Midway through, the writer actually introduces an internal counterargument, noting that physical travel can be expensive and environmentally taxing. But they immediately neutralize this objection by pointing to responsible tourism and structured cultural exchange programs as viable solutions. By pairing vivid sensory vocabulary with the swift resolution of a potential counterargument, the author creates a highly resilient defense of their main thesis. Looking at this diagram of the 2 body paragraphs side by side, we can see how they logically interlock. The structure relies on a concept in argumentation known as sufficiency. The first body paragraph successfully proves that media is highly useful, but it also establishes that media alone is logically insufficient for a complete understanding of a culture. The second paragraph then steps in to prove that physical travel supplies those exact missing elements. You end up with 2 contrasting pillars of thought. The first paragraph deals with accessibility. The second deals with authenticity. The structural power of this essay emerges from the deliberate tension and logical resolution designed between these 2 body blocks. The final paragraph lands right at the bottom, capping off the logic. It concisely summarizes the path the reader just took through the evidence. It restates the main thesis with absolute clarity, using the decisive phrase, essential and irreplaceable, to lock in the final stance. This video is brought to you by the IELTS Focus 08477 05973. an English center specializing in IELTS preparation. Mastering this concession refutation model gives a writer the tools to tackle complex prompts, showing the examiner that they can analyze multiple sides of an issue while maintaining total objective authority over the argument.